Hi everybody, it's Meri Amen. Feeling a little bit better today, so I thought I'd do another video. I hope everybody can see me. It's kind of dark in my room. Actually, I'm in one of my son's rooms. So anyway, I wanted to talk a little bit about Kendra Reid, and I'd like to talk a little bit about suicide and what happens to a person in the afterlife once they commit something like this. First of all, let me just say that I'm very sorry to the family what happened to Kendra. I can imagine how you all must be feeling. Like I said, if it's affected our community the way that it has, I can imagine how it's affecting the family. So that's understandable why they're not speaking a lot about her death, her untimely passing. So let me just start the conversation with her, giving her much respect. Kendra, if you look at her photos, you see a lot of blue around her, okay? Kendra is what we would call a star seed or an indigo. So she may have grown up feeling a little bit different than everybody else in her family and her friends, which we all do when we're different, when we're gifted and what have you, or when we see the world differently than everybody else. So that can be hard in itself. You know, trying to get people to understand you and where you're coming from can be a very difficult thing for a young indigo. So I have been in contact with her for the past couple of days, okay? And let me just be clear. The person in that video that's being promoted in our community is not Kendra, okay? If you're paying attention, Kendra has a nose ring, if she has any earrings at all, or rings. She has a nose ring. And the other girl in the video does not have a nose ring. She has an eyebrow piercing. So please pay attention. Please pay attention. There are certain things, yes, sometimes people can say we all look alike, but we do have different things that we do to ourselves that, you know, people can recognize. And I also feel that if Kendra's mother felt that that was her in that porn video, okay, that she would have made a bigger deal about it. Okay, so a mother recognizes their child. So it's not her. Please stop passing that video around. My opinion is it's a person named Tracy Kush, and she's a porn star, and she's known, well known, for doing videos where she's tortured and hung up by so-called white supremacists. People get off on this. I don't get it. They say she makes a lot of money doing this. You know, I'm not even going to speak about that. You know, I just feel like we women should have a certain respect about ourselves. There should be a line. Certain things we will do and certain things we won't do. I'm not against the porn industry. You know, even in kingdoms, there are women that are the entertainment. Okay, so I'm not against entertainment. Okay, so let's just be clear. I'm not against, you know, people in that industry, because I guess it's necessary. You know what? I'm just trying to be nice about it. But, you know, I'll keep my opinions to myself about what Tracy does. I don't know her personally. I don't know her life story, so I can't judge her. But I know what I wouldn't do. Okay, I'm just saying. I know, Tasha, right? So, peace, Chaz Bay. How are you doing? All right, so, the thing that I've been picking up with Kendra, and I have to tell you all that usually when I do a seance, there are certain things I do to prepare for a seance. There are certain herbs that I take that take me deeper into spirit, and I don't have access to those herbs right now. So what I'm getting from Kendra is just bits and pieces that I'm trying to fit together. So take what I say with a grain of salt. Don't take it as a matter of fact. Okay, because I can't even take what I'm saying to you right now as a matter of fact, because I have not done a full sit down seance with her spirit. Okay, but I can tell you, thank you, Eric Williams Davis, thank you. I can tell you that today, when I summoned her spirit, she was a lot sadder, a lot sadder. When I did communicate with her today, I was actually sitting in front of my mirror, which I sometimes do with spirit, and I did morph into her a bit. As far as her face, I could see the sadness in her face. It's really, her face was really, really sad. And I know this face. I know this face. So she was really, really sad at that moment. And also in the afterlife where she is now. She's really, really sad. When I do call her, I've actually called her several times today. And each time I've noticed that she's screaming. She's screaming. And part of me is thinking that she's screaming because, they won't investigate her death. But then another part of it is just, I think it's just out of frustration. A lot of times when a spirit has freshly transitioned, they go through their own emotions, and you can't be really clear about what they're saying because it's all based on their perception of things. Okay, so let's just be clear. Yesterday, what I was picking up on, let me speak about yesterday first. Yesterday, what I was picking up on is that she mentioned two men for certain. She mentioned two men, and she said these two men, one was melanated, one was a blonde, and one of them was wearing a baseball cap. Okay, but she didn't tell me much more than that. What I did feel in my own body was that at one point she was like on her knees. I don't know if she was looking up at these two men, or what's coming to me right now in my gut is she may have been praying. She was on her knees and she was looking up at the sky. So she may have been praying. Okay. What I was getting and what I was initially thinking is that maybe those two men murdered her, because she's definitely telling me that they were there, they were around. And then yesterday her ex kept coming up. Whoever her ex is or whatever, he kept coming up really, really strong. Today I have a slight different opinion about what happened to her. Like I said, I don't have all information. I'm just trying to piece this together as a human being, trying to put together a mystery. So what I got from her today is that she may have made a phone call or so before she walked to the park. Okay. And a lot of times when you're feeling down or a bit suicidal at that moment, you may call to someone that you think would be there for you or whatever. And then that person tells you something like, get over it. You're weak. If you want to kill yourself, go ahead and do it. And some people will actually do it just to prove other people wrong, just to get other people's attention. So I want to say, if somebody comes to you and they're not feeling themselves, even just for the moment, and you think this person is really, really strong, that would be the worst kind of person to tell, well, you may go do it. You may as well go do it, because the stronger of us will actually try to go do it. It may sound insane at the moment, but depends on how stern of a person you are. I take her spirit as being really, really, when she comes to me, it's kind of soft. It's not really a dominant, forceful, aggressive type spirit. She seemed like she was really like a soft, good person. All right. So what I got today is that she was feeling sad at the time for whatever reason. Okay. And this is hard for me to say. It's really hard for me to say, because I don't want to believe that she took her own life. I don't want to believe that, because for me, working in the mental health field, I know based on things I've studied and whatever that usually women wouldn't commit suicide by hanging themselves, and especially in a public place. They would usually do it somewhere at home with some pills or gas or whatever. And men are usually the ones that would take a more violent approach, like hanging, shooting themselves with a gun, running out into traffic, jumping off of bridges. That's something a man would do. Hanging is not something a woman would do. Okay, let me just be clear. I do have, there is certain instances where a woman would do it by hanging. I had a friend, a good friend, at one of the jobs I was working at, and one morning they announced that she was no longer with us, and I didn't get it. And when I realized what they were saying, she took her own life that morning. And she did do it by hanging. She hung herself. She did it in her own home. She hung herself from her stairs. Okay, but there were signs before she hung herself. She was depressed. I mean, she had been depressed for months, and she would talk to several of us about it, and we were always there for her. We would watch her because we felt like she was going to do something one day. She was having problems with her son's father and the children and stuff like that, making her feel bad. She also had lupus, so she was always in a lot of pain. So, we would keep a close watch on her. It got to the point to where she stopped talking to me. And that kind of made me think, like, what's going on with her, because she always talks to me. I guess she figured that I would talk her out of it, or I would have something to say to her to make her feel better. But once a person decides suicide, they've been thinking about it a while. Okay. But in Kendra's situation, I feel that she wasn't really clinically depressed, but she may have been going through something at the moment. And for somebody to tell you, well, you ain't gonna do it, or go ahead and do it, or something like that, it may have been something where she says, well, I'm gonna challenge this. So what I feel is that she may have, and again, I'm just putting bits and pieces together. I don't have the whole story. Okay. I feel that she's telling me that she didn't mean to. It was an accident. Okay. Maybe she felt like going to the park, being in a public place, someone would stop her. And I feel that these men that she described actually saw her, but maybe they didn't realize what she was doing, and they just kept going, maybe. So when she changed her mind, she had already lost her footing, and she couldn't take it back. What I hear from her specifically is she was just playing. She didn't mean it. I do feel a lot of regret from her. She's in regret today. She's in a lot of regret. She wants to come back to this side. She never meant to leave this side. So that's what I'm picking up from her today. Like I said, I would have to get some other things to go into a deeper meditation with her and really put it all together. So this is just as confusing for me as it is for everybody. We don't want to believe that this beautiful young woman that seems to have a bright future could have done something like that to herself. But you never know. I just find, now, outside of me being a psychic, I just find it crazy and it doesn't make sense to me that a person would commit suicide in a park. Especially not one of us. Like, where have you heard anybody doing that? Especially a woman. Where have you, usually when people commit suicide, they want to shut in, they want to close off, they want to get away from everybody and do it quietly on their own. Okay, that's a real suicide. But for someone to go in public and do it, that seems like they're trying to get somebody to pay attention to them, to listen to me. You're not listening to me. Okay. So I think if she did commit suicide, it was an accident. I don't think she really meant to do it. I feel a lot of regret coming from her today. So I'm still going to look into it. It's just a hard thing. It's just really hard. what happens, I'm sorry if I'm getting spacey, it's just that I've been thinking about this, and I've been thinking about that other video for the past few days that people have been spreading around, and I've been trying to make all of this make sense. It just doesn't make sense. Okay. We melanated people, we were born with what you call a bullshit detector. Okay. When somebody starts talking to us, and we automatically can tell right away if what they're telling us is bullshit. And when we all heard the story about this beautiful young woman committing suicide in a public park, it sounded like a bunch of bullshit to us. It still sounds like bullshit to me. So that's why I'm really trying to get into what really happened to her. Okay. Now, what happens when a person transitions after committing suicide? A lot of people that commit suicide, they really think that it's a way out, that they're not going to have that problem anymore. And that's not true. That's not true. What happens is you get stuck in that place you were at when you took your life. You get stuck there. You keep reliving the same situation over and over. So when certain people say that they have died and come back and they've seen heaven or they've seen hell, that's because that's what's been placed in the conscious mind or the subconscious. It's been placed in there. So when you pass away, that's what you're going to see. So it's so important that while you're in this life, you find your way, you find your positive end, you find light at the end of the tunnel, because you don't want to be lost. That is what psychics mean when we say that the spirit is lost, because they didn't have anything in their consciousness where they're going to go to a better place. Okay. Right now, I'm not sure if Kendra was a Christian or spiritual or whatever, but when she comes to me, she screams. She screams first. And I'm not sure if that scream is because she's still shocked that she can speak to me and I can hear her. Because a lot of times with spirit, they are shocked that, they can communicate with me. A lot of times when people pass away, when they're like Christians or whatever, and they don't believe in this kind of stuff, they resent it and they're like, no, I don't want to do this. I don't want to talk. So I let them go. So, the way a person is in this life is how they're going to be and how they're going to think in the next life. They don't automatically change and become this, So she may have had a certain religious belief that if she committed suicide, she may go to hell. Because when I asked her today if she was okay, she told me no, she's not okay. And I asked her, was she in danger? And she told me yes. So I asked her, does she need help crossing over? And she said no. And I said, do you want to cross over? And she says no. And then that's when she started feeding me the words of she wants to come back. She doesn't want to leave. She never wanted to leave. So that's just my take on it. So if you ever get someone that's telling you that, they're feeling a certain kind of way and they're feeling suicidal, I don't care what your opinions of that person is or what your opinion on suicide is. Please take it seriously and never ever tell somebody that is feeling that way to go ahead and do it, because you never know if they might try it just because you told them to go ahead and do it. And then when they do something, they may not be able to stop it or take it back. And them hoping for somebody else to see them, that may not happen. Okay? So that's my little public message. I hope I've been informative and enlightening on the subject. Like I said, I still want to look deeper into what happened to Kendra. Like I said, I'm getting bits and pieces of information, and I'm trying to put it together to where it makes sense. And I don't know. I'm just, I know one thing for sure. She is not that person in the video. So please, y'all, stop sharing that video. If I want to see porn, I know how to type it in. I don't do porn. So please stop showing this gross video of this chick that likes to get paid for being dominated and tormented and hung by white supremacists. I do not like it. You know, if this chick want to do that, that's her business, but I don't want to see it no more. Okay? So please, I did post something on my page comparing the two photos where Kendra has a nose ring and the other chick has an eyebrow ring. They're not the same person. So please make my posts go viral so people can stop sharing that porn on our pages and in our inboxes, because I'm about tired of it. All right. So anyway, I'm going to go eat a late dinner. So if you guys have any questions, let me just scroll down to see if anybody's asked me something. Thank you, you all, for sharing my video. After everyone stopped sharing, random people started getting the video in their inbox from people not on their friends list. That's interesting, because I know the other photo that was being shared of the other girl that was supposed to have been kidnapped, and she finally made it back home, supposedly. They actually hacked into my information, and I started receiving 1,000 calls a day from Google numbers. So I feel that it's a propaganda I feel like actually on Facebook, and y'all heard me talk about Facebook today, you know, I feel that Facebook is targeting our community for some reason. I'm not sure if they do this stuff on their, you know, the other white meat, but I definitely know that we receive a lot of crap. We receive friend requests from random Caucasian people, and you're like, what? You know, it's crazy. So just be careful. I'm weeding myself off of Facebook because I see what the end is going to be. It's you know, they're getting more strict. Right now, I'm kind of ticked. I'm really ticked because I posted several videos through Facebook and I can't download them to my computer. And a lot of people are having this problem because they feel your stuff belongs to them and it's no longer yours. And that's some bullshit. So that's why I'm finding other avenues to get what I teach out there, because I'm no longer into being policed. And some of y'all still don't get it that Facebook is government. It is. Look at the colors, blue and white. Look at the colors. It never changes. Other social sites, their colors change and their formats change. Facebook never changes. All right. It never changes. Plus, other social sites will not ask you or demand you to send identifying information. Only a government ran site would do that. So I'm getting away from it. So if we ever lose contact for whatever reason, look me up on Periscope. You can definitely find me on YouTube. I did check out MySpace yesterday. It's all right. I mean, it's not like what we're used to on Facebook, but it certainly can be. It's just that not enough of us are on there. So it's kind of boring. It's kind of dull right now. So if you want to check it out, just open up a MySpace just to have one. You never know. So anyway, I'm gonna let you guys go. I'll read through the comments again, and if I see something that's real significant I want to talk about, I might do another video later. Sorry. I'm reading. Can you show and prove the result of the afterlife? Can I show and prove the result of the afterlife? Can you prove it? Can you disprove it? You can't tell me you have never I don't know. Have you ever smelt like your grandmother's perfume or something that has passed away? I mean, there's no way to prove it to you. Only people that actually contact and connect with spirits and pay attention to what ancestors have passed on in their family that still come around, only those people have proof of afterlife. If you've never experienced those things, you won't have proof. So there's no way for me to prove it to you. I mean, I can get on here all day and all night and morph into someone else, and you would still be like, no, that didn't happen. So I don't spend my time trying to prove things to people, especially when it comes to being a medium. I just give you what I see, and you can accept it or you don't. You know, I have nothing to prove to anyone because I've proven it to myself. That's what you need to do, is tap into the science yourself. Start connecting with the ancestors yourself, and that will be your proof, and won't nobody be able to tell you different. So that's where I'm at. I have the proof for myself. I don't have to prove it to you or anybody else. And I know you're not being ugly towards me, but I'm used to that kind of comment. So that's my response to it. The only way you can prove it to yourself is by doing it yourself. So whatever. But you guys have a great night. Like I said, I might be on a little bit later. Exactly. All right. Peace and love, y'all. Islam.